As I stand here, just outside the wrought iron gates of the old mansion, I can feel the weight of its dark past pressing down on me. The house looms before me, its windows like the empty sockets of a long-dead giant. A shiver runs down my spine, but I cannot turn away. I've come too far, heard too many stories to be dissuaded now. This is the house they call the Whispering Manor, a place where the walls speak in hushed tones, and the shadows hold secrets too sinister to comprehend. My journey to this accursed place began when I inherited it from my estranged uncle, a man I had never met. The letter arrived like an omen, the handwriting cramped and barely legible. It contained only a few lines, instructing me to claim the mansion in a remote corner of the countryside. It had been abandoned for decades, the townsfolk whispering about the unspeakable horrors that lurked within. As I enter the mansion's grand foyer, the air grows colder, heavier. The walls seem to close in on me, and I can hear faint, distant whispers. I shake my head, blaming it on my overactive imagination, but I can't ignore the creeping unease that has settled over me like a suffocating blanket. The first night in Whispering Manor was a torment. I lay in the master bedroom, an ornate chamber that had once been filled with life but now felt like a tomb. The windows rattled, and the wind howled through the ancient trees that surrounded the house. I pulled the covers tight around me, but no amount of fabric could ward off the chill that seeped into my bones. As I drifted into fitful sleep, the nightmares began. I was trapped in a never-ending labyrinth of shadowy corridors, chased by whispers that seemed to emanate from the very walls. Figures with contorted, ghostly faces reached out for me, their fingers brushing my skin like ice. I awoke with a start, drenched in cold sweat, the echoes of those dreadful whispers still ringing in my ears. The days that followed were no better. The mansion was a maze of forgotten rooms and decaying furniture, each step echoing with the past. I ventured into the basement, a place where the darkness seemed to coalesce into something more sinister. It was there that I found a collection of old journals, their pages yellowed with age. The entries detailed my uncle's descent into madness, his obsession with the occult, and his experiments with forbidden rituals. He believed that he could unlock the secrets of the universe, but instead he unleashed something unspeakable. The entries grew increasingly disjointed, filled with cryptic references to the darkness that whispers and the price of knowledge. I couldn't help but feel that I was being watched as I read those journals, that something malevolent was lurking just beyond the edge of my vision. My unease grew with each passing day, and I began to see fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures in the corners of my vision, only to have them vanish when I turned to look. One evening, as I sat in the dimly lit library, the whispers that had plagued me since my arrival grew louder, more insistent. I strained to make out the words, but they were like a cacophony of voices, each one vying for my attention. It was as if the very walls themselves were trying to communicate with me, to share their terrible secrets, and then, in a moment of sheer terror, the whispers coalesced into a single haunting sentence. "You are not alone." I leaped from my chair, my heart pounding in my chest. I searched the room, but there was no one there. I was utterly and irrevocably alone in that accursed house. That night, I barricaded myself in my room, clutching a makeshift weapon, ready to defend myself against whatever unseen horrors lurked in the darkness. But the hours passed in agonizing silence, and I began to wonder if I had truly lost my mind. The next morning, I decided to leave. I couldn't bear to stay in that house any longer, couldn't endure the relentless whispers that seemed to grow louder with each passing day. But as I approached the front door, I found it wouldn't budge. It was as if the house itself was holding me captive, refusing to release its grip on me. Desperation set in as I searched for another way out, but every window was sealed shut, and every door was locked tight. I was trapped, a prisoner in my own personal hell. I began to doubt my own sanity, to question whether the whispers were real or if they were the product of my fractured mind. Days turned into weeks, and I grew gaunt and hollow-eyed, my once strong resolve reduced to a mere shadow of its former self. I could no longer distinguish between dreams and reality, between the living and the dead. The house had become my tormentor, its dark past a suffocating shroud that clung to me, threatening to consume me whole. And then, one fateful night, As I sat in the library, the whispers grew deafening, drowning out all rational thought. I clutched my head in my hands, tears streaming down my face, begging for the voices to stop. And then, in a final chilling revelation, the whispers formed a coherent sentence. We are the price of knowledge. With a jolt, I understood. My uncle had paid a terrible price for his pursuit of forbidden knowledge, and now I was to pay the same. The darkness that had taken root in Whispering Manor sought to claim me as its own, to make me a part of its cursed legacy. As I write these words, I am no longer certain of my fate. The whispers have not ceased, and the shadows have grown ever more insistent. I fear that I am running out of time, that soon I will become just another tormented soul trapped within these cursed walls. If you ever hear of a house in a remote corner of the countryside, a place they call the Whispering Manor, I beg you to stay far away. For within its walls, a darkness lurks, a darkness that whispers of unspeakable horrors and the terrible price of knowledge. And if you should ever find yourself drawn to that house, as I was, may the fates have mercy on your soul, for you may never escape its grasp.